Hey guys, welcome along to another video. You are not going to want to miss this one. This week we are talking to Harry Redknapp and he tells us about his time at Portsmouth Football Club, and you can hear about Paul Merson and how good he was for Portsmouth and how Harry Redknapp signed Kanu on a free transfer. You are not going to want to miss this one. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Also get involved on the email to jump to the front of the queue when we go live. That's footballfanpaul@gmail.com. You are not going to want to miss this video, and it's coming right up.
Yeah, I had a great time at Portsmouth as well. I went there my first year as manager. We won the championship. We were 3-1 outsiders at the start of the year. I threw a team together. I signed Paul Merson. Before I signed Merson, I thought I'd do well to keep this team in this league. I really did. A mate of mine ran me, true story. A mate of mine called Alan James, big pal. He rings me, big West Ham man. He said, Harry, I'm going £1,000 each way, your team, 33-1. He said, I said, Alan, we're useless. I said, please, don't waste your money. He said, I thought you might turn around. I said, Al, no chance. I said, we're shocking, honestly. I said, we do well to stay up, you know. Anyway, we won the league at the end of the year, and he never spoke to me again. Cost him £33,000. But I signed Merson. I'm sure you've heard the Merson story, but Merson comes in. I signed him Wednesday before the first game of the season. Get a phone call from his agent, Steve Kanu, Harry, would you fancy Paul Merson? I said, yeah, we can't afford him. He went, well, they want him out. John Gregory wants to get rid of him at Villa. He's had his time. He's not going to be in the team. He wants him out of the building because he'll be aggravation if he's not playing. I said, listen, what's his wages? He says, I'm 20 grand a week. I said, we can't afford that. He said, what will you pay him? I said, 4 grand. He went, can't you do more than that? I said, no. He said, oh, let me speak to John Gregory, I'll come back to you. Anyway, 10 minutes later, he said, you got him. He'll pay 16, you pay 4, and we got a deal. So we signed him for the season. He come in, he changed everything. He was fantastic. He scored goals, made goals. We were top of the league from the first game of the season. First game of the season, we beat Notts Forest at home. We then go to Crystal Palace. We're 2-0 down at half time. Simon Jordan came in, second to Landry. We're still in Seattle, but see how clever your big time manager is. They're winning, beat us. You can imagine Simon Jordan, can't you? I mean, he's got some job in him. He is clever, must be very clever, very, very clever guy. He wasn't that clever, he lost all his money owning Crystal Palace, but anyway. He is a smart guy, he does listen to him on Talk Sport. And Simon came in and said, let's see how clever your big manager, and we ended up coming back second half winning 3-2. So, and then we went on a run, we were top of the league, we draw Man United in the third round of the FA Cup at Old Trafford, go up there, get beat, play great, fantastic performance, but get beat by the odd goal when they were really flying, they won the league that year. And anyway, we come back from Old Trafford. On the Monday, Merson comes to see me. Harry said, we said we ain't got a game. We play Millwall next Saturday. Then we've got 2 weeks with no game because we're at the cup and we're supposed to be playing Sheffield Wednesday. They're still in the cup, and so we've got a fortnight with no game. He said, I've got a lot of problems. I said, what's the matter, Merson? He said, well, I've been gambling a lot, doing my money. I said, yeah. He said, yeah, I've been losing all my money. He said, I've been drinking. Oh yeah, I said, you're playing great. Now I've been boozing my money, I'm back on the booze again. He said, my missus called me with another woman. I said, really? I said, I'm glad you enjoyed yourself, Merson. Can I go and try me out of this clinic? He said, when I go there, they've got psychologists, they sort my problems out for me. I went, yeah, no problem, Merson. He said, well, after Millwall on Saturday, can I go away and come back 10 days, Wednesday week, 10 days at the clinic? I said, yeah, no problem. Anyway, we beat Millwall 5-0 at Millwall on Saturday, 5-0. Merson gets 2 goals, I take him off 5 minutes from the end, he gets a standing ovation from the mere Wall fans. That's how good he was at that. Right? Anyway, off he goes at the end of the game. I'm going now. All right, Merce. I'll be back in Wednesday week. All right. Hope you get sorted out, Merce. You know, we need you. We want to win the league. We want to get promoted. You know, we're top of the league. We need you here. You are my man. You're the captain. I need you back. Right. Come on, Merce. Off he goes. Anyway, we're training. Freezing cold, January. On the Thursday that week, I get a phone call from a mate of mine called Michael Tabor. Michael is a billionaire. He's going to buy West Ham back in the day. Well, Michael's so rich and silly. Like owns Coolmore, the racing empire. Sadly, he owns Victor. He owns. Anyway, he's West Ham, big West Ham fan. Harry said, phone goes, Michael. Harry, it's Michael. Hello, Michael. How are you going? He said, I'm all right. He said, I've just been chatting to one of your boys. I said, one of our boys? He said, yeah, Paul Merson. I went, oh no, what's the matter, Michael? I thought Michael must be in the clinic with him. What do you mean, what's the matter? Somebody's in the clinic in Hertfordshire. He said, yeah, he's on the beach in Barbados. I said, no, he can't be Merson. He went, yeah, he is. He said, looks well. I thought, I bet he does, yeah. Anyway, now I'm going to sack him. Next day I'm going to sack him. Friday I'm going to sack him. Saturday, he's going off and what a liberty he's took to me. But I know without Merson we cannot go up. We cannot. He is such a best player in the division. All the players love him. I loved him. I just, anyway, by the time we get to Wednesday, I'm going to let it go, get to the end of the season, I'll let it go, but I'm just going to go with it and see where it's going. He comes in, I'm on the training pitch, he walks up to me, oh Harry, I said, you all right, Merce? He said, I feel a lot better, thanks. I thought, I bet you everything, you've had 2 days in Barbados, right? He's got the best suntan I've ever seen, it's January. He's so glad, it's silly, right? Anyway, we play on the Saturday. We play Bolton on the Saturday, win 2-0, he gets both the goals again. We go on, we win the league that year. I let him go at the end of the season, but he was fantastic. I watch him now on Soccer Saturday. I watch him, he's going, right, I think they get 4 or 5 grand for doing the games. He's doing Soccer Saturday, he's there. We used to be Jeff Stelling or whoever, but he's watching the game. His game is Tottenham Arsenal, right? But he's had a bet on Chelsea Liverpool, right next door. He ain't watching his game. I can really know it. He's had even 4 grand or whatever they get on that game, and he's kicking every ball in. And they go, Mercy's been a goal. Now he looks back at his own, he ain't got a clue what's happening. He's great. I love him. He's a great character.
I think before we move on from Portsmouth, I don't think we can leave with you being one of the very few English managers who won a major trophy in this country, the FA Cup with Portsmouth. How was that? Like being a great you grew up watching?
Yeah, it was amazing. Yeah, I've been growing up watching the FA Cup as a kid. The only game that people forget, the only game that was on television when I was a kid was one game a year on TV. That was the FA Cup final. There was no other football. There was no snippets of football. There weren't no highlights of football. We had one game a year, and that was the FA Cup final. We had a 9-inch television, black and white, with a 3-inch magnifying glass that you, I swear on my word, that you strung over the front of it, made it into a 12-inch, and that was the cup final every year. So to actually go back, and the man in the white suit would sing a Bible with me, 100,000 people at Wembley. Whoever lost, the fans stayed in after and clapped the teams off. Now when the game finishes, the stadium's half empty. Very different games, So to go to the FA Cup final with Portsmouth was amazing. On the way, we went to Old Trafford. We drew many. I remember the quarter-finals. We got to a quarter-final. I just want to get to Wembley so bad. Portsmouth things were going great. We won the league the year before. We were holding our own. But I just wondered if we could, sorry, we was in the championship that year, sorry still. But I wanted to get to Wembley, and that was my dream, obviously, to go we were in the Premier, wanted to get to Wembley. And I remember playing golf, and I'm listening to the cup draw. They're giving me the cup draw for Pompey, a day off, we played the day before. And they went, Man United versus Portsmouth. I threw the 8-iron further than I hit the ball. I swear, I thought, oh my God, And then Man United were trying to do, Fergie wanted to do the treble again that year. So they were flying, you know. Anyway, we went to Old Trafford and we beat them that day, and obviously went on to win the FA Cup that year. So it was amazing time for me.
Yeah, great times indeed. So December 2004, you made the somewhat controversial move up the road and you turned up at Southampton.
Yeah, not a clever move. Not a clever move. I just got manager of the month on the Saturday and had a row with Milan after the game. He wanted to get rid of Jim Smith, who was my assistant, and I loved Jim. Jim was my right hand. And so we had an argument, and I walked out on Monday. He was insistent he bought a Yugoslav coach who I didn't know, and I walked out. But within 5 days, I was in at Southampton. So not a clever move. Every day I used to turn up. First couple of weeks at Portsmouth at Southampton, as I used to pull up the training ground at the T-junction, right by the training ground. There's about 8 or 10 lads from Pompey digging the road, and they was waiting for me every morning. My God, they give me some grief. Oh my God. And you Judas, they slaughtered me, you know. But yeah, it passed in the end, and and eventually I ended up going back to Portsmouth, you know, after a year at Southampton or whatever. I get a phone call from Milan. Redknapp senior rang me. He'd gone to watch a game at Portsmouth that day. Chelsea played Portsmouth, and Chelsea beat them 4-0, and he came up to Frank senior, right in Milan, and Frank said, "You struggled with Milan?" He said, "Yeah, we're going to get relegated." He said, so Frank said, "When you get Harry back?" He said, "He won't come back. We're not friends anymore." He said, "Well, why don't you ring him?" He said, "I'll ring him for you." And he rang me. I said, "Yeah, I will go back." And the funniest thing, I got a phone call that night from Chris Kamara. I'll go and meet Milan at his house. Right? I'll meet him. I haven't spoken to him, right? He had a big fall now. I'll go and meet him. He's got a nice bottle of red wine, he had a drink. Now we're mates again, right? We're chatting away, and I'm going back. Right? I'll get a phone call from Chris Kamara. "Harry, get your money on Neil Warnock. He's going to Portsmouth." He said, "We're all lumped on him. Ali McCoy, we all got our money on him." He said, "We've all got him. He's going to Warnock's got the job." I couldn't tell him I've just shook hands on the job. So so that was that one. Warnock was shook hands with Milan. I thought he had the job, and then I came out the back at the blue, and I said I would do it, and he obviously picked him and give me the job. So yeah, it was amazing. I was back at Portsmouth.
You touched on a couple of names there, Chris Kamara and great Jim Smith. Do you want to tell us about when Chris Kamara was live on Sky?
Chris is outside my office. Me and Jim are in the office. Chris is outside, and he's talking to Jeff Stelling and saying, "Jeff, I'm here at Portsmouth. Harry and Jim are in there doing their set plays, tactics. That's the inner sanctum." He said, "I'm going to go in there. They don't know we're here. I'm going to go in and surprise them and have a little chat and see what tactics they're working at for today's game with Leeds United." He opens the door. Me and Jim are sitting there behind the desk reading the Racing Post. Anyway, we still won 3-0, but I mean, but yeah. So Chris came. That was. But listen, good players. The most important thing, good players. If you've got good players, good pros, you know, it's quite an easy job. When you've got bad players, you've got no chance. And I had good players at Portsmouth, so you know, some fantastic players really. Say like, but then the second time I ended up with a really outstanding team of players. Osama Diarra was a player. I took to Chelsea, and what a player. Sold him to Real Madrid for £25 million. We paid £4 million to Chelsea. Just some Suleiman Tari, Osama Diarra, but just strong, you know, real powerful team there, great team. Kanu. I signed Kanu. I'm looking for a striker, first game of the season, and we ain't got a striker. We're playing Blackburn at home. Tony Adams is my assistant. I said to Tony, we're looking at the rock. I said, "Tony, they ain't got anybody to play on next Saturday against the back. What are we going to do? We ain't even got a centre half you could play up there." Todorov, they say Todorov might be fit enough to play 45 minutes, but we ain't really got a striker. I'm looking, I said, "Tony, what about Kanu?" He said, "Kanu?" I said, "Yeah, he was at West Brom last year." I said, he did alright against us last year. He looked alright. He said, "Harry, he's 46. I went, "Well," I said, where are we going to find someone?" We looked through the book, can't find no one. So I'm going to ring Kanu up. Tony Adams said to me, Harry, do me a favour. You can't ring him, he's knackered, he's 46 years of age, isn't he? I went, I'll ring him. Kanu, I said, what, you going to play this year? Yeah, he said, I want to play, I haven't got a team. I said, well, I'm interested at Portsmouth. Would you? He said, oh yeah, I love to play, I want to play. I said, are you fit? Yeah, he said, I had a run over the park about 3 weeks ago. I said, you're good, get down there. So anyway, I booked him in the guest house, little motel that night, in the training ground. I said, I'll book you in there, the secretary will organise it, come down, give me the address, right? Come in the morning, have a medical, and get you signed. Give you a year's contract. Oh, fantastic. Next day he comes in, Tony says, Harry, you can't sign him. Please, Harry, do not take him. He's had it, I'm telling you, mate. Now I'm getting scared now. So that afternoon we had a reserve game at the training ground. Funny enough, we were playing Cardiff City. David Jones was there with them. And so I said, what I'm going to do? I'm going to play him in the reserve game. I tell him it's not a trial. I just want to get him fit for Saturday. If he's no good, I'll tell the doctor to foul him on the medical, make out he's got a bad foot, right? Make out he's got a dodgy knee or something, you know. It's terrible, but these are the tricks what you have to do. So anyway, Tony Adams said, Harry, he's finished. Anyway, he plays in this reserve game. He scores 2 of the best goals I've ever seen in my life. I've never seen it like it. It was ridiculous. I'd sign him. I signed him. After the game, he signed him. On the Saturday, he's on the bench. Todoroff played 45. Blackburn at home. Mark Hughes, first game of the season. Blackburn had a good team. First, we come in at half-time, 1-0 up. Todoroff has to come off. On comes Kanu. He gets 2 goals second half and misses a penalty for his hat-trick. We go to Middlesbrough Tuesday night, being 4-0, he gets another 2. Comes back the following Saturday, he scores again, we win again. We're top of the league. He's got 5 goals in the first 3 games. And he's still playing, 6 years later, he was still playing for Portsmouth, played against Milan. By Tony Adams' reckoning, he was 52. But what a signing he was. Sometimes you have to show what you're cleaning in. It was a gamble and it paid off.
Right, so